Welcome back to Talk Dead to Me, the only Walking Dead podcast with the guts to start at season 10. I am your host, Johnny Odell. With me, as always, are my amazing co-hosts, Alexandra August and Woody Tondorf. Guys, how you doing?
Like, emotionally?
Spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
Top notch.
All three, wow.
Yeah, I'm really killing it.
Alexandra, in 3 seconds or less, how you doing?
Good.
Great. We're here to break down the very first episode of The Walking Dead Season 10, 1001.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's jump into this amazing episode. All right, so the episode opens with a big middle finger to flat earthers. We start in space with a satellite, an old USSR satellite. That's how you know it's old. It doesn't say Russia on it. And the satellite just begins falling to Earth. Alexandra, how did you feel seeing The Walking Dead start in space?
I understand that it's, this technology is breaking down. And so we're going to see, these are the things that happen, 10 years after people, which I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. But as somebody who is a big sci-fi nerd and a huge Star Trek fan, to have a very kind of space, the final frontier opening to The Walking Dead was a really fun cross-genre moment. It was kind of an unexpected treat. And it makes me wonder if this was sort of a signal that like season 10's a brave new world. There's no Rick. Something really strange is going to happen. Like maybe we're going to see some major development technology-wise. Maybe that was foreshadowing that, or it was just a cool way to open it.
We had some beach training.
Huge fan. The season premieres, they usually show them how they're getting more sophisticated with their walker elimination tactics. This one was full on, like totally accurate battle simulator where you like 100% it perfectly. So we've got dudes with shields. We've got short-range brawlers. We've got long-range archers. We've got mid-range spear guys. We've got Jerry looking fantastic. We've got a whole ship full of walkers that maybe they stumbled onto the beach in the middle of like the summer and just knocked into it and heard like and they're like, oh, cool. This is the perfect opportunity to do our training exercise. It was great. I loved it. And then Michonne slashed a zombie's face and the face fell onto the ocean, Point Break style, and then they thought it was a Whisperer mask. And all hell broke loose.
It was amazing. And a little quick Easter egg I got from the red carpet, season 10, shout out to Greg Nicotero, who said he's a big Jaws fan, and he used the opening sequence as an homage to Jaws. And if you look really closely at the boat that they are training with the walkers on, there is a barrel attached to it that's the same barrel that was from Jaws. So it's great. It's the attention to detail that no one notices, but that's the kind of stuff that you can get only in this podcast. All right, so.
And that's how Jaws ends, I guess.
In this episode, we also got to see the return of Oceanside, who we haven't seen since the beginning of season 9 when they were killing all those pesky saviors in cold blood.
Only the ones who deserved it.
Which was all of them.
All of them.
So, Alexandra, how did you feel about the return of this community?
I'm excited for Oceanside. I'm also really excited in general to see like how things work in the apocalypse. So I'm very fascinated to see food preparation and like fish curing and all that kind of stuff. I could watch a documentary on that all day long. Personal favorite. And I feel like Oceanside is a really interesting community. I've always liked the premise and I'm excited to see more from them. So we'll see if that actually gets fleshed out this season, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I was excited to see Oceanside back, and I'm excited to see what else, how they'll play a part in this season, because from the looks of the premiere and how important they are, I feel like that was some foreshadowing.
And how do you feel about Luke having a potential love interest in this girl, Jules?
Oh man, it was a flirty episode.
Everybody in like the whole episode is just flirting their asses off, and I am here for it. It is like Gossip Girl in the post-apocalypse.
Spring hath sprung.
Luke had his hot Luke summer. He's looking fantastic. Jules is noticing. I don't think the dating pool in The Walking Dead is super deep, but I think it's a good relationship.
It's a great relationship. And
She's extremely attractive.
She's
He's
super
lucky.
hot. Yeah,
I don't know that he could pull that pre-apocalypse.
Oh no, he's punching above his weight. Big time.
All right, speaking of adorable friendships, we also got to see Judith and RJ talk again. We didn't really see a lot of RJ last season, which was actually led to a little bit of speculation on my part. As a social media manager, I hear a lot from fans on their crazy theories. And one of the crazy theories was that RJ wasn't real, or he wasn't actually Rick's son. So, Alexandra, do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't have any thoughts per se, but I think I have to claim some responsibility maybe
what
have you done?
What have you done?
So I covered the show for CBR last year.
She's a mole.
Comic book resources. And when I initially watched the premiere, I was a little bit confused about the time jump because it seemed to me, or in RJ's age, because it seemed to me that RJ was too little to have been Michonne's baby by Rick, because I was under the impression that we'd gone about like 6 years, and he just didn't look 6 years old. He looked like 2 or 3. And so I think I wrote something in my either recap or feature based on the premiere that was like, oh, and Michonne's playing around with a kid that's obviously not Rick's. And oh my God, Twitter got so mad at me, y'all.
So not just Twitter, me. I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, this is like Frost Nixon right now. I didn't know I was sitting across from this Twitter criminal. You made my life hell last year, but it's okay. We're gonna move on. This podcast is about forgiveness.
Twitter criminal?
All right, that brings us to our next point. We also got to meet another new character, baby Coco, who has kind of a awkward father situation. Woody, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, you've got Uncle Eugene, who's just putzing around the house, doing probably the most Eugene baby raising you could possibly imagine, which means he's taking every single data point he possibly can. He's measuring every aspect of baby Coco.
Peak Eugene.
Yeah, he's got the bottle warming down to like a minute and 16 seconds, and so of course he tells Sadiq in the Eugene way, it's 5 minutes and 16 seconds, no more, no less. And Sadiq's like, well, what if it's 18? And Eugene's explaining this is the number. You're not going to go past that logically.
Yeah, Eugene's feeling himself. He just don't step to Eugene. The jokes are over. He's done. Take him seriously.
Yeah, no, he is. Serious dad Eugene is very much into this. And it has a bit of Alexandra, if you were to do just fan casting or Walking Dead casting, 3 men and a little hashtag baby Coco, who's your Ted Danson? Who's your Tom Selleck? Okay,
well, this is really fun and really easy. Sadiq is clearly Ted Danson, unprepared father.
Yep.
Didn't know.
Yep.
Father Gabriel is 100% Tom Selleck because he is cool, large and in charge, and shipping the mom, which if you've seen the sequel to 3 Men and a Little Baby, 3 Men and a Little Lady.
Negan showed up this episode, and we also got to see him with this other guy. They didn't name him in the episode, but we know him as Brandon. Now, comic fans will tell you, Brandon is actually the little twerp in the comics that lets Negan free. He lets him escape. So this could be a little foreshadowing. Maybe it's a red herring. We don't know. But we did get to see Negan and Brandon. Woody, what'd you think about that?
Look, Negan's cell is a turnstile at this point. The only thing that's keeping Negan in prison is Negan. I mean, how many times did he break out or leave in season 9? I don't remember. It's a handful of times. But he always keeps coming back. I think at this point, it's only a matter of time in season 10 until, you just let Negan slip the bonds and just be out there in the world as he naturally should be. And if he's got to shank Brandon like he did in the comic books, so be it.
Spoilers.
He does. I'm sorry. In the books, he shanks Brandon. So I'm imagining that he's just going to, I don't know, maybe it's a different Negan who's not going to murder some poor kid, but you never know.
I could see them honestly, he's been kinder, gentler Negan for a little bit too long. And so I could see Brandon being sacrificed for the sake of hi, Negan's still bloodthirsty. Don't sleep on him.
I like that. I like that because he is very much kind of I'm just the gardener. I'm kind of the kindly janitor who also is in prison through most of the days.
Yeah, and I'm interested in seeing Negan get rehabilitated to a degree, but I don't want them to take out all of his teeth.
Totally. Yeah.
Speaking of rehab and the medical profession in general, we got to meet Dante, which is another comic character who seems to be completely retrofitted from the comics. In the comics, he was just a guy who worked at Hilltop. He was actually one of the original people who discovered the Whisperers, and he survived this massive attack. Eventually, he goes on to date and make out with Maggie, lucky. And this time, he's a doctor, and he's way more cocky than his comic counterparts. So, Alexandra, how do we feel about Dr. Dante?
Dante seems very fishy to me. I'm very happy that he seems to be smart enough to either be a doctor or pretend to be a doctor, because if you're going to be something in the apocalypse, it should be a doctor. He's found a way to get himself sheltered and to get himself laid in perpetuity, as long as he doesn't screw up too badly. But he just seems sleazy. I think there's something up with Dante.
My biggest question after watching it was is this dude a doctor? Because he's got the jacket and then walks in being well, I'm a doctor. I just moved a bunch of prescriptions around. And I'm that's not a doctor. That's a stock boy. If I was
maybe a pharmacist,
but even then there's a little bit of training with that. So
a lot. There's a lot.
So I'm not totally sold. It's in movies when the easiest role that an actor can play in movies is a chef, because all you have to do is be seen moving a spoon around in a pot. Same deal with Dante. Like, he just said, like, I moved some prescriptions. I have a white jacket. And we just assume this dude's a doctor. I don't buy it. Okay? I want to know. What's up?
Well, I guess, but now that you mentioned that too, I feel like we had a previous discussion about this where we discussed how Eugene would have been able to spot that. But
right. Yeah.
But Eugene, A, is distracted, I think, by the baby. And B, even if he is a real doctor, I still think there's something very, very fishy about him.
Yeah. I don't like him. I don't like him.
False identities are interesting. Ezekiel was also in this episode, and he got to help welcome Carol back. Carol had a little moment where she went away, a little sailing adventure, and she came back. And Ezekiel, obviously, they broke up at the end of season 9, which was like 5 months ago. So, Woody, what'd you think about their reunion?
It might have been 5 months ago, but to Zeke, it was yesterday.
It seems a little fresh for Zeke.
Yeah, to go back into my seamless and perfect The Walking Dead is now a high school drama premise. Zeke is waiting for Carol to get back from her summer at sea or semester at sea, and now she's back. She looks fantastic. She's got like cool pirate things, and then he's like, hey, I'm still devoted to you. Will you be my girlfriend still? And she's like, I don't want to hug you. I can't talk to you. Oh, look, there's Daryl. And you watch him just get Thanos'd away. Like...
Snapped.
Yeah, snapped. You understand.
I get it.
Oh my God.
He's dust.
He's dust.
Yeah. I feel so bad for him, especially because like she talks to Daryl for like 10 seconds and Daryl makes one like Daryl comment, and then she does like the I'm in love with you laugh that all girls do, and you're just kind of like, oh my God, Zeke, why?
Throws herself into his arms. I honestly haven't seen Carol this happy in years. Yeah. So I would just poor Zeke.
Alexandra, as a woman, how do you feel about this? Like, Zeke, is it as clear as day? Zeke is friend zone. Daryl is just the ride or die.
Ugh, I hate the term friend zone, but no, I think Carol is just running like mad away from just the white hot poker of pain that Ezekiel represents. I mean, She had a wonderful storybook fairy tale life. She let herself love again, and some crazy chick in a Walker mask cut off her son's head. So I see where Carol's coming in terms of protecting her heart. I think she could maybe be a little bit more sensitive to Ezekiel still being madly in love with her and not like literally jump into Daryl's arms when she sees him. But Carol's not super sensitive these days, so I'm not surprised that happened. I don't think that she and Daryl are ever going to sleep together. Sorry, Carol shippers.
Alexander, have you ever returned from C to an ex?
Multiple times.
How did that go?
I was nicer about it, I'll tell you that.
That's
Typically,
nice.
it's not like super great form to be on the deck waiting for your ex when you have no actual reason to be there.
Yeah, dude. Act like you've been there before.
It was a little thirsty. So if I'm seeing, if there's a guy on the dock and he's there and he's waving a bouquet of flowers at me and he has like a really nice dress under his arm and like a gift card to Mastro's with their dates all planned, then like I'm not
Very
mad
specific.
at that, but it's a lot.
I'm picturing Carol
It's a lot.
coming into the dock, seeing Zeke there and being like, oh, God, fuck.
And just turning around as
can
the
we go-
boat slowly
I mean,
goes
Also, how fun that like Carol comes in on a literal ship
yes.
and then faces Zeke and then goes off with her dude, Daryl.
Speaking of Carol and Daryl, we got to see a lot of scenes with them this episode. I think the fans kind of quenched their thirst with that. Woody, was this just friendship bracelets, or do you think there's something else to this?
I mean, look, the bonds between Carol and Daryl are super, super strong. And they talk about going to New Mexico at length. And I was really for that because for half a second, I'm like, are they going to cross over into Fear 2? Like, this is amazing. They talk about being pirates together, which is a spinoff that I need in my life. I didn't know I needed it, but now I need it desperately. The thing that I love the most about it, though, is like, these are grown-ass adults. And if I were to tell you the breakdown of this scene where Carol jumps off a boat after her semester at sea and gets on to bad boy Daryl's motorcycle and they go off into the woods and talk about making friendship bracelets, would you guess that was a scene with adults?
Nope, I don't think I would. It seems like...
But they make it work. Like, they're two old souls and they're just like, they're so great. I love it. I don't think that I necessarily need anything more than that, but just to have them, the two of them together and talking like that just warmed my heart.
The satellite we mentioned earlier finally fell to the ground and serendipitously into our heroes' midst, forcing our characters to cross Alpha's border to put out this fire. Alexandra, do you think that was a good decision?
Listen, this border business, I would have been fired a long time ago because I would have been like in winter being like, guys, I know it's cold and I know it's a blizzard, but I don't care if they aren't here or they are here. I'm crossing this border, getting to safety. And if I see any whisperers, they're dead. That's coming from a place of emotion. So it's probably why I'm not going to be in a leadership position in Alexandria or the Hilltop. But, you know, that's how I feel.
Woody, would you have crossed the border to put out the fire that was threatening Oceanside?
Yeah. Just because you've established all that stuff, they clearly care enough. Like they had a little rudimentary, adorable firefighter department that
they did.
Went out there. It was great, and they had some kind of sophisticated fire clearing techniques. Like they literally fight fire with fire at one point, like putting a whole burn back thing, and they're saying words about firefighting that I didn't understand, but sounded accurate. So I think if you had the training to do it, you should do it. There is a small part of me that was just let that whole thing burn. It's just Oceanside, and maybe you catch a couple whispers while they're sleeping.
Did you not see the fishing operation that Oceanside has created out of bamboo and lev?
You're right. I hadn't thought about the Swiss Family Robinson community that was really getting
That's right. You didn't think.
Survivor Season 40 is looking really crazy.
I don't think any discussion of the Oceanside fire can go by without calling out Carol's incredibly metal move of slitting the throat of a walker and using the blood to put out several fires.
God. That was insane.
So good. Wait, I forgot there's
Negan would have loved that.
Absolutely. Yeah, he would have been in the back and be like, oh my God.
The more I think about it, the more I think
that is awesome.
It's probably good Carol and Negan haven't met because I think they would totally bang. And
he'd just be furiously masturbating in the background to that.
Oh my God, the amount of which I am here for Negan and Carol versus the amount of which I'm here for Negan whoa, that almost took a really different turn. For Carol and Daryl, oh my God, there's a chasm between the two. Negan and Carol for life. They haven't met, but I'm shipping it hard.
Oh
now.
My God, that's really good. I really like that. There's another part where they need to knock down a tree or something like that, and Daryl throws an axe.
Yep, that's how it works.
That knocks down a tree.
It was
physics.
About to get knocked down, the tree, and he just wanted to push it over away from people. That worked enough for me.
Well, way to dot that I. It was great.
Yeah.
All right, so the episode ends with Daryl showing Carol the canyon where Alpha had taken him in season 9, where all of her nuclear bomb of walker herd was, and they're now gone. And as Daryl's leaving, Carol then sees Alpha just coincidentally step into the clear. Woody, are we setting up a huge battle now?
Short answer, yes, absolutely. I felt stirrings seeing the two of them stare at each other from across the gap. That was really, really cool. However, I did think to myself, it would be kind of funny if, Alpha just kind of wandered out there in that moment being time to get to the herd. Oh, my God. And then looks up and sees, Carol up there, and she's like, who is that? And just kind of squints up there for a little bit, and then Carol looks back at her being like, I think that's her. You killed my adopted son. She's like, I think that's a person. That's not a tree. That's definitely a person.
She's got some long hair, or is that the sunlight?
I feel like I murdered most of her family.
Alexander, we also saw during the trailer that Carol and Alpha at some point will meet this season, assuming it's not a dream sequence. So what Alpha, Carol storylines are you looking forward to this season?
I think these two ladies are very different brands of delicious crazy and extremity, and these are women who have kind of leaned into the apocalypse and blossomed into more exciting versions of themselves, and versions of themselves that they like much better post-apocalyptically. They've taken it to different places, but they share some similarities that just make me really excited to get them into a room together. And also, we saw what Carol did at the beginning of season 9 to a dude who looked sideways at Henry and stole her wedding ring. She burned him and his friends alive in their sleep.
It was great.
So dope.
It had to be done.
Yeah. So, the idea of seeing someone like Carol go toe to toe with someone like Alpha is going to be a really interesting match. And I'm here for, like I said, here for whatever form it takes.
It felt like something out of Fear, where a satellite falls out of the sky. That's something that would happen in Fear the Walking Dead, not on OG Walking Dead, which was fantastic. I'm here for it.
All right. So really quick, here are the big moments from the episode that came straight out of the comics. There weren't a lot, but here are the ones that did come out. The opening training session. It did happen in the comics. There was a moment where Dwight in issue 151 was training everyone in different military formations, but it wasn't on a beach and it wasn't as epic. It was just sort of a normal training session. And
they had guns.
Yeah. It was a little bit more effective.
I'm going to just give you a quick little hot take observation here.
I
think the beach crew would have mopped the floor with the Dwight crew from the comics.
Absolutely.
Because even with guns and all their training and stuff like that, they still got overrun. Meanwhile, the beach crew is very well put together.
One of the other big comic moments is that, when Carol came back on her ship, that's actually a Michonne storyline from the comics. In issue 139, Michonne comes back after taking some time to herself at sea. If you're curious to see what actually happened with Michonne during that sea voyage, go pick up Telltale's The Walking Dead Michonne. It's really dark.
And you can get that and seasons 1 through 4, plus the season 1 DLC 400 Days in the Telltale's The Walking Dead, the definitive series that's out right now.
Thanks, Woody. Okay, and then the final big moment, and this is the one that everyone's talking about. It's the walker skin that Magna and them find in the woods. It is laying face down, and we see for the first time in the Walking Dead series a butt. We see a full crack and butt. There are times in the Walking Dead comic series where we saw butts, and the butts. In the comic series, there are threads that some weirdos, it was me, have compiled all the butts that have been in the Walking Dead comics. And I'm just really glad that the butt made it in. What do you think?
I'm picturing you at home and you get to the bit and you see the butt and you're like, oh my God, did they do it? And then you're just like going through a database of like, have there been any other butts in the Walking Dead? And you realize, oh, this is the one. And then you make the website, are there any butts in this episode of thewalkingdead.org? It's not .com. You just want to get the information out there. And now you can finally put yes.
All right, that brings us to our next segment called Shot Takes. Shot Takes.
Shot Takes. Oh, no, that wasn't, you shouldn't have drank that. That wasn't the, oh dear.
That was Whiteout.
This hurts.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. We got to get you to poison control like real fast.
She'll be fine. All right, so for our first shot take, Woody, take it away.
All right, here's my blazing hot take that everyone's going to have a real problem with. Everybody in The Walking Dead, with the exception of Daryl, is a shitty hunter. And I base that off of one moment where Zeke is like, I've never had a seagull before. And I'm looking around being like, all you have around you are seagulls. None of you can throw an arrow or a spear. You train with these, like on walkers. Either you just never got around to it, which is impossible, they're all around you, or you just really fucking suck at hunting things, particularly birds. Oceanside is a bunch of really shitty hunters. Alexandra is looking at me as if to say, like, well, what about the fish? And I'll tell you, Alexandra, there are so many more fish in the 10 years that humans have gone away that they've all just been restocked. I bet you could just throw a net out there and you're just going to haul in whole catches. It's like Deadliest Catch out there without the deadliest.
Okay.
Well, there was a zombie that washed ashore, so it is the deadliest catch.
That's fair.
That should have been the name of the episode.
I'm actually going to pass my hot take this week and give it to Dog, who has let me know that his hot take is that Connie is a way better match for Daryl than Carol is.
Whoa!
Full send.
Fight him.
All right, guys, please
Talk
let
to
us know
Dog.
what you think about that. My hot take is that now that they've officially mentioned New Mexico, the Breaking Bad Walking Dead crossover has been confirmed. And that wraps up Talk Dead to Me for the Walking Dead Season 10 premiere. Woo! We did it. Really quick before we go, we saw in the trailer that there's going to be a little Alpha Beta backstory next week. Woody, 10 seconds or less, what do you hope to see?
Well, in the comics, they tease that he is a professional basketball player, so I want to see that.
Great. What are we thinking? Larry Bird? Dirk?
I'm thinking Dirk.
Dirk. Okay. Dirk Nowitzki is beta confirmed. Alexandra, what do you hope to see in 10 seconds?
I would like to see Ryan Hurst's cheeks, which I haven't seen in about 7 years.
Are we talking face or?
I'm talking he shaves that beard.
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking like 2 butts in 2 episodes.
2 butts in
Walking
2
Dead.
episodes. Yeah.
All right.
Great. And that's it. And guys, make sure to like and subscribe to Talk Dead to Me. Rate it 5 stars. Tell your friends about it. Tweet about it. Follow us at The Walking Dead. That's where we're going to be posting about this. And we'll see you next week, right here on Monday.
Has Ryan Hurst ever since like Remember the Titans? Doesn't he Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
So you say like he's had a beard ever since Remember the Titans?
I think he got, does he have a beard in Sons of Anarchy?
He does.